Hello there and welcome to Il Salotto Sessions. I am Sara Seravalli, an Italian event organizer with a profound enthusiasm for design and architecture, bringing over 15 years of experience from my work across showrooms in Milan, Paris and London. Fueled by a passion for connecting people in the design world, I founded Design Pop-Up in 2014, a specification-focused event that has since traveled throughout the UK and Ireland. Today I'm expanding my vision with Il Salotto, a vibrant space, both physical and virtual, dedicated to inspiring meaningful conversations and fostering connections within the design community. I hope you will enjoy my chats. Welcome to this new episode of Il Salotto Sessions. I'm here today with Iain Munro from Scene Engineering as an interior fit-out specialist based in Glasgow. Hello, Iain.
Hello.
How are you doing today?
I'm super, thank you.
Cool. It's very nice to be here, to have you here. You're the first guest recording from our new showroom. Thank you very much for your help. Your team was very much involved in putting these things together, not to mention you made me two beautiful dining tables.
I've seen them. They exist. Definitely here.
They exist. They're gonna be put at good use as of tomorrow night.
Excellent.
So tell me about your history. How did you come to start Scene? About 10 years ago?
No, actually horrifyingly 18 years ago, 2008. So I used to be a design engineer, a building services engineer, and spent years of my life just making it somebody else's problem to design buildings, and kind of lost my way on what the point of all of that was, and just wanted to actually be involved in the actual construction of a thing. So yeah, we kind of kicked off in 2008. I kicked off on my own in 2008. In the middle of a recession, I think you'll remember. The first of many. Yeah, just to actually try and get out and to work in construction generally. It's a slightly odd route that we've taken to get here, and the people that work in the business are all from interesting backgrounds.
You did say it was quite a creative team, wasn't it? I mean, the people I've seen here, they were quite creative.
She said in the nicest possible way. Yeah. So yeah, all of our guys, probably with the exception of me, almost all of the guys have come through either an art school or creative route to where they're currently at. I'm a bit of the odd one out in that I obviously came through as an engineer rather than a creative bod. But yeah, as a result, we're not traditional builders, traditional construction trained builders. We are very much design-led creative people and craftsmen. We like to call ourselves craftsmen. So that's the core of the business. That's who we are. That's our identity out in the world. Not necessarily what we stand for, but certainly who we are as.
So you very much enjoy working with the artists and designers, right?
Yeah, inevitably, because we are fit-out guys, the end product is the bit that everybody sees and touches and feels. We don't get involved in structure or even pretty floor coverings or colour of the walls or any of that kind of stuff. It's very much the furniture, the manufactured and bespoke furniture that goes into a space. So inevitably, we end up working with the creative teams on a project. Even if we weren't brought in directly by them, we end up in front of architects and interior designers, and we work with them to come up with the best possible solution for them.
I was quite impressed to see in the video that your videographer made of the production of my dining table, there was a girl involved in it.
Well, indeed, yeah. We have...
That chuffed to see that.
I'm glad to hear that. We have it's probably a slightly different hiring mechanism in that we hire based on people. We don't hire based on even skill or ability. We work on the premise that you can learn these things. If you're interested and you're keen enough to get involved in these things, then you can learn. So as a result, that's how we end up with quite a broad spectrum of people from all backgrounds.
You're getting tempted now.
You are very welcome anytime. Come along. Right. No particular interview. We'll just decide whether we like you or not.
Instead of retiring, I'm going to change my career and become a joiner. Listen, so we got in touch through the incredible Rose Malcolm that she's now working with you to launch a new product that we're going to discuss about it later. But what she said, she used to be the main contractor side of guys. And she said one of the reasons she really enjoyed working with you is because you've got your workshop in Glasgow, and then you were always ready to jump in and get a problem solved. How is the fact that you are based here, do you think, is an advantage for your clients?
It's quite a a local industry. Scotland-wide is quite a local industry. Everybody knows everybody. Everybody works with each other time and again in projects. Being local, being Scotland generally, is good to be able to provide stuff out of Scotland. No waiting time or delays while we wait for stuff to turn up. We're trying to manufacture locally and deliver quickly. And as you say, when problems crop up, which inevitably they do, buildings are buildings, you have to solve things on a daily basis. It's good to be able to make a phone call, workshop can jump on something, get something turned around quickly and back out on site, rather than inevitable, phone up and then wait 6 weeks for something to come back again. So yeah, it's great to have a manufacturing facility in Glasgow in Scotland. And that's one of our two core business goals, I guess, is to try and bring as much manufacturing back into Scotland as possible. I say manufacturing, that sounds a bit like we're printing out a million of the same thing. It's really not like that. But the idea that we've got people working in highly skilled jobs to custom make stuff, bespoke stuff, is really important to us. That's a real drive for us. And as you mentioned, we've got a product launch coming up, and that was really where that was born out of. That was the whole premise of why we wanted to have our own product that we were making in Scotland, that we could service UK and possibly beyond. Who knows where it's going to end up.
Who knows? A bit of education section here. Timber, obviously you're a joiner, you work a lot with timber.
Yes, indeed.
But we can't really use Scottish timber, right? We need to buy it from Lithuania or...
Quite to the contrary, actually. We're quite keen to try and use as much Scottish wood as we possibly can. We have a couple of sawmills that we use specifically for providing raw timber or sawn timber ready, kiln dried for us to turn into things. And it is Scottish trees that we've got a project coming up where we're just taking a delivery of ash timber, which is all Scottish ash, which we're going to use. Scottish oak, yes, granted, hard to come by, not a lot of it around. So we do expect that we'll probably have to branch into Europe somewhere to get European oak. But lots of other timbers do exist. We have trees, you can see them.
Government has spent quite a lot of money in forestry in the last 20 years.
They have. The sad thing is the majority of it is fast growing softwood, which ultimately turns into paper. There is a board manufacturer up in Inverness, but unfortunately they were taken over by a Canadian company, so everything gets manufactured in Inverness and then put on a boat and shipped to Canada. So we never see the output of any of that. But
like the oysters going to Hong Kong.
It's very much like that. Yeah. Scottish mussels into France. We do that every day. It blows my mind. But anyway, so yes, our big drive is to try and increase the value of Scottish wood, actually make it a valuable resource rather than just, as I say, turning into paper or some low-grade type product. So yeah, we're trying very hard to do that. Granted, there are lots of exciting timbers from Europe especially, which it would be a shame not to use them if they are available, and that would be great. But the real drive on this one is Scottish timber as far as we can.
So, scale, right?
Yes.
I've got some samples here in my hands, and then I've got our entrance wall is being cladded with scale. And it's like indoor, or can it be outdoor?
It can be outdoor. So
indoor and outdoor cladding 3D with different profiles, and then can be stained to different colors.
Yes.
Cool. Why did you come to here? I mean, this is absolutely beautiful, but why?
That's why. So it was born out of a project where we were asked to provide a particular wall cladding by a manufacturer. And as we looked into the product, it was actually manufactured in China and put on a boat and shipped here. So when you order it, it's a lead time of 12 to 16 weeks.
It doesn't get stuck in the Canal of Suez.
Absolutely true. Absolutely true. So we suggested that because the project itself wasn't actually running that long, it would be better if we just manufactured it. And so that started the journey of, can we actually make something that is good and worthwhile and exciting and new and manufactured locally? And the answer was yes. And it's now in a project in Edinburgh on the wall. That's looking great. And you said you have some here as well in your studio. So
I do, yeah.
You do. It's a Douglas fir, Scottish Douglas fir timber. And
how do you see it being used? Obviously, everything we do with the Salotto is mainly commercial, right? So you could do so we're talking about hospitality, maybe office space. We're not really talking about houses. How do you think this is going to be
Exactly that. I think workspaces and, as you say, bars, restaurants, hotels, everybody's looking for something a little softer in the environment now. So there's a lot of planting going on. There's a lot of indoor plants and trees, and natural timber is an obvious one. Certainly the journey we've been on up until now, just talking about the product, people are really enthusiastic about having a tactile, nice to touch, nice environment type timber in there. So yeah, that's going to be the market for it. But I don't think we're in any doubt that there's a domestic market as well. There's people's houses, interesting wall coverings to have in your house of natural timber. So that's the current drive. That's where we're headed with it, I hope.
So natural, obviously, as you say, everybody now is it a COVID result or is it something that started before? I don't know. But so obviously now well-being and mental health, there is a big focus on that because of what we've gone through 4 years ago, and thank goodness some of us survived. So obviously natural materials and everything connected to nature does help the mental well-being.
It does.
So it makes complete sense for a house or an office.
It does, I think, and there's a lot of people who are now coming back to the workspace. I think a lot of big corporations are pulling people back in now. So you might have been used to a really homely environment for your home office, and now you're coming back into a communal workspace. And it's nice to have these kind of finishes in that space so that it's a less harsh transition back to maybe a more traditional office environment as was pre-COVID. So I think this helps in all of that. Weirdly, interestingly, we've been chatting to an acoustician about these products as well. And because of the shape of them, which I would love to take credit for, but absolutely cannot, because of the shape of them, they've got weird acoustic properties as well. They disrupt acoustics. So putting a nice natural timber with that kind of profile in a space, suddenly get quite a nice environment to be in.
Definitely something acoustic in here. You can see the echo. You can hear the echo.
It is quite hard in here. I'm not going to lie. Quite a lot of hard surfaces.
Well, it's a work in progress. As you can see, builders are still in. Interesting. I've been working from home for the last 12 years. This is the first time I've actually got office, and I'm so excited to come into Glasgow to work. I really didn't have a very homely home office. I think a lot of people are actually, maybe because now we got the flexibility, right, that we didn't have before. Before we were Monday to Thursday, 9 to 5, no matter what. Now companies have seen the advantages of give flexibility, which is a huge advantage to all of us.
It is. We're a 4-day-a-week company ourselves. Have been actually pre-COVID, was it? No, just around COVID, we made that transition to 4 days a week. And so, yeah, I can't even explain how good it is for mental well-being. Everybody, if you have a really hard week, and that's not really on me, that's more a physically hard week, like a lot of the guys do in our company. 2 days is not enough time to recover. You have a day lying around on Saturday hoping to God you're going to survive it, and then Sunday you've got to get ready to go back, do it all again. 3 days is the magic number here. 4 days of work and 3 days off is a good compromise, I think, and it seems to work well. We get a lot of grief from other more traditional businesses that possibly don't understand why we do it, but we like to think that it's as effective, if not more so, from a work point of view as well.
I agree. I mean, Monday to Thursday I'm here. Friday is my day of walking the dog for 2 hours. And then Saturday, Sunday is Children's Day, right?
Yeah.
Because they're home from school, so you really want to have energy to dedicate to them.
Very true. Very true.
So you've got actually, Ross was saying you've done a lot of work and effort on mental health with your team.
Yeah, I think I myself have had a bit of a journey through my adult life of trying to deal with mental health issues, and I think the industry we work in, all of us work in, is quite a harsh industry. I think there are a lot of industries far better developed in the way of good mental health and good work practices than construction. Construction is still a little rough in a few places. So yeah, I've been on a bit of a journey my own self, and about 4 years ago eventually got to crisis point and eventually had to accept that as a man I had to go and seek help. And that was both a huge step but also a massive turning point, not just from the fact that I did and came out the other side of it and have had a far better lifestyle since, but also driving home the point that as human beings, and I can only speak from a male perspective here, but as human beings, we find it really hard to just take that first step of going, no, I genuinely can't fix this. I have to go and get somebody else to fix that, because I put that off for probably 15 plus years. And yeah, it wasn't a way to live. So I started a journey to try and really talk about good mental health in construction particularly. I tell everybody that I've been on this journey, and I hope that everybody can realise that that makes me really approachable to come and talk about it. Doesn't need to be a big deal, or nobody needs to make a big fuss about it, but if you want to talk about it, I absolutely would do that. And I think that's where the 4-day-a-week company structure came from. That was part of that whole thing of just trying to help people to have a better life, realising that work is only part of what you have to do in day-to-day life. Home life is important. Families, we both have families, and it's good to be able to balance work and family, and it's tough to do. And everybody else has their own journey they're going on, so good to make available the ability to talk about it. And if you feel that you want to, need to go and get help, then I'm obviously happy to talk and point and see what I can do to assist.
Well, you're talking to somebody who's been in therapy for 7 years of the last 20, so you're opening.
We know well then.
Open door with me. But so this is why last year I spent so much energy and time in talking about these things through. Luckily, I've got this incredible platform that are my events, and as you say, the construction industry is quite the pressures, whether it's budget, whether it's time scale, whether it's toxic masculinity or whatever. So many people have so many struggles to deal with. And then I'll continue this. It's very important, for people like us that luckily we managed to get out. We are better now. We are happy again. We're not on the verge of breaking down. The fact that we can normalize talking about it is actually quite a big advantage, especially, I hope everybody knows how much I love Scotland, but West of Scotland men are not the best at talking about emotions and feelings. So I think we are both on a mission here to make it more normal to ask for help, to talk about it.
Yeah, my family, my parents' generation and beyond, and probably the reason I didn't get therapy earlier was because when you speak to somebody about that, they assume it's like having a broken leg or an illness that you need to then go and get help for. Whereas anybody who's been through therapy realises that all that you're being given is a toolkit to allow you to deal with whatever life throws at you. And I can't understand, I know from my children's point of view that they touch on some of this mindfulness and various things in primary school as they're in, and then again in high school, but it's not really driven home as, like, this is as important as maths and English. You should be learning this skill set to deal with all the other crap you deal with in life. And I don't understand why we don't make more of a this is just education. It's not a waiting until you reach crisis point where you have to deal with it, because everybody deals with stuff every single day. People who are otherwise happy and don't deem themselves needing therapy then find themselves in a situation where they have to deal with something, and this helps. And I don't get it. I think if I could, I would shout from the rooftops that this is just life. You should just go and do. Don't call it therapy, call it something else, but you should go and do this, acquire this toolkit to allow you to deal with good, happy, healthy life. I think that's a good way to put it. Get the tools right for the right job, right? That's it. And the therapy that I've been through, the reason I am not currently back there is because I now have the ability to self-manage. I have the tools and the awareness to be able to deal with that myself. And who knows, I might end up having to check back in with my therapist at some point, but touch wood, I haven't seen her for 2 years now. That's what happened to me. I did a big chunk when in my late 20s, and then the last 2 years. It's just life throws you different challenges. And sometimes you need extra help. Indeed, absolutely true. And nobody knows what tomorrow brings, and it can be anything. But yeah, just for a good, wholesome, healthy, happy life, then why would we not all go and get this training? This should be a mandatory training course. As I say, school, if you can't do it at school, then we should be offering this in the workplace as an actual training thing rather than a disaster recovery therapy. So we have partnered with a therapy business that allows any of our staff to phone up and have sessions on the phone with a company if they need them. We know nothing about it. It's not run through our business. It's just a facility that's available to our staff. But again, I feel like it's all we can offer, but it's the Band-Aid. It's, oh my goodness, I've got this big problem and I need to talk to somebody about it, rather than we should actually just be running these kind of courses every single week, and people should just be arming themselves with the ability to deal with life. Okay, let's do it at Il Salotto then. Excellent. We'll do monthly lesson on whatever tool you can have to help you happy. I would gladly do that. I genuinely would gladly do that. So I went from my own therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy. I then went and did training courses in CBT and eventually got a certificate as a
you
CBT.
can come then.
So I'm not sure I would ever be able to rubber stamp me as an official therapist with all the training and everything that these people have. But I can definitely do a workshop.
Fantastic.
Delighted to do so.
Thank you very much for listening to Il Salotto Sessions. If you enjoyed the chat, please make sure you share with your friends and follow our podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. For more information on our events, please visit ilsalotto.design and designpopup.com. You can also find us on Instagram _designpopup and Il Salotto Glasgow as well as LinkedIn. Should you have any feedback, questions or suggestions, please do get in touch at hello@ilsalotto.design. We would love to hear from you. Thank you.